Hello and welcome to this week's edition of TCS Student News. I'm Chase.
And I'm Kevin. Let's get started on the international stories.
Over in Russia, there has been lots of controversy over new technology that reports say have the ability to block, filter, or even slow down online websites. Its first countrywide test was on March 10th when users on Twitter had experienced unusually long loading times. Some had even reported websites were blocked entirely. Most of these sites had ties linking to Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny, who is said to have been largely targeted in these new tests done by Russia. While its first countrywide test was in March, it is said that this project of Russia's has been going on since 2019. Back in 2019, eyewitnesses had reported seeing Russian government-approved technicians who had forcefully made their way into telecommunication companies' server rooms and installed government computers and servers. Some say they would occasionally lock these servers in cages away from company workers. With the censorship of the internet, you would think that huge companies such as Google or Apple would be against it, but that's not how it turned out this time. It turns out these companies have, quote, obediently turned into accomplices to Putin and the Russian government, as said by infamous Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny. This comes after huge tech corporations have gone ahead with the censorship of recent parliamentary elections in Russia without a word, which is interesting as in the past, Google and Apple had largely been against Russian demands. It is believed this is because of how Russian authorities have been increasing the consequences to these companies who do not abide by Russian rules and regulation. Google has also been accused of trying to block or attempting to hide peaceful protesting against the government. Navalny has also stated that big tech companies are allowing themselves to be used as instruments to the Kremlin and that they are hypocrites for presenting themselves as firms driven by values such as improving the world. There has also been a lot of call to the people who work in these giant tech corporations to stop putting up with the cowardice of their bosses and to begin protesting inside these companies.
Russia's state censor has threatened to block YouTube after it deleted two German language channels, both of which belong to the Kremlin-funded broadcaster RT. The channels were deleted because they were supposedly spreading misinformation about the coronavirus. Initially, the channel RTDE was temporarily suspended because it posted videos that violated YouTube's misinformation rules. RTDE then tried to circumvent this suspension by posting similar videos on Der Verlande Part, a second channel owned by the same group. This violated YouTube's user terms and led to the deletion of both channels. The threats to block YouTube is just one of the many ways Russia has tried to further censor its media. Other ways include the deal it made with Google and Apple to remove content related to the smart voting campaign by Alexei Navalny, a leader of an opposition party in Russia. Russia has also been pressing Google, Facebook, and Twitter to remove content that criticizes the rule of Vladimir Putin. Russian courts have banned any mention of Navalny's smart voting app and have called his actions extremist. And while he has called Google an accomplice in Putin's actions, Russian employees of Google have faced the threat of being arrested if Navalny's voting app wasn't removed. I find the actions of the Russian government to be concerning, but at the same time, I'm not surprised that they do this. They already hold elections where the same party wins every single time, and they silence any opposition. At least they're consistent with their choices, stay in power, and don't let anyone say otherwise. How do you feel about it, Chase?
I feel bad for the people. The internet is such a huge part of our lives. But then again, that's a small problem compared to what they're going through with their government. It's great to see so many people standing up for what they believe in over in Russia. I hope things get better for the citizens in Russia because it looks like a mess down there. But that's enough about Russia for now. Let's get straight into TCS Student News. On Thursday, we got to have our first financial literacy class of the school year. Last week, we had Miss Kathleen, who works as a client service associate and operations director, as well as Mr. Brett, who is a financial advisor for Berman Macular. Berman Macular is a financial planning company based in Maryland. This is a great company as it works very closely with many individuals and helps them with financial advising and security. We've all been looking forward to this class ever since it was announced, and I am so happy to finally have this class. Miss Kathleen and Mr. Brett both did an excellent job with the first class. It was very engaging, informative, and relatable. I really look forward to the next class, and I think everyone else is too.
Many things happened on Friday. First, it was Reese's birthday. He turned 14, and the entire school, along with his older brother, younger sister, and mother, were there to celebrate it with him. After we had lunch, we sang him happy birthday, and the entire Guilfoyle family took a family photo together. Happy birthday, Reese.
Also on Friday, we all had a special conversation with Miss Peg. Miss Peg came in and showed us a PowerPoint that went through her entire life from birth to how she ended up working in the school and meeting Mr. Tom. This was an incredible story of how she got to where she is now, and I really appreciate her taking the time to prepare the great PowerPoint and lunch, drive down here, and deliver a great presentation on her backstory. We learned a lot about her and how she came into deaf culture, and the various schools she worked at and jobs she had. It was a great experience, and I learned so much about you. I think because of this, our ASL classes will be much more meaningful and engaging. Thank you for showing us so much about you and your past. This was a great conversation, and we all appreciate the detail and the work you always put into anything for the school. From lunches to ASL or presentations like these, you always go above and beyond, and we just can't thank you enough.
Thank you, Miss Peg. Last but not least, on Friday, we started a new book called Fences. Fences is a play written by August Wilson, the same playwright who wrote Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. The book is centered around a black family in the 1950s, the main protagonist being the character Troy Maxson. The play is definitely a piece of its time, from its language to the interactions between characters, and especially in the struggles that the characters deal with. We read the first part of it in class on Friday, and the book is looking pretty good so far. Troy certainly likes to tell his stories. What do you think, Chase?
I think this book will be a great read for all of us. Just reading the first part of it, I can already tell this will be a phenomenal book. The book is written in such an authentic and realistic way. Since this book was written decades ago, it really gives insight into how society worked back then and really shows the struggles facing African Americans in a place where they were treated so harshly without remorse. On Monday, we got a visit from Controller Bill Henry. Mr. Henry works on the Baltimore City Council. He was originally one of the aides on the council, but after many years of hard work, he was sworn into the position he has now. Mr. Henry came into our class today because he used to work with Miss Mary Pat Clark, our climate change teacher, and a retired member of the council. Together, both of them worked to get the plastic bag ban passed. He talked to us about how hard it was to get it through, changes they had to make, and how the law is put into effect now. I really enjoyed how he answered all of our questions and then some. He made sure that everyone was engaged in the conversation. Thanks for stopping by, Mr. Henry.
And now we move on to lunches. Thank you, Miss Linda, Madison's mom, for the delicious pizza.
Thank you so much to Miss Kathleen and Mr. Brett, who brought in the pulled pork and potato salad. It was so tasty and a great first impression.
Thank you, Mr. Nye, Ronan, and Reese's mom for the delicious meal of pasta and sausage with cheese and caprese salad on Friday. It was great, and the pasta was just perfect.
Thank you, Miss Sam, for providing the delicious baked ziti and garlic bread. This was an amazing lunch, so thank you.
Thank you, Miss Peg, on Tuesday for the chicken quesadillas, salad, pineapple, and pastry. I really enjoyed it, and so did many others.
And that's it for this week's edition of TCS Student News. Have a good one, and we'll see you next time.